Land, domestic air, and domestic sea travel to and from Metro Manila shall be suspended beginning March 15, 2020.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Chua, and I will be your host for tonight. We are so ecstatic to welcome everyone for another episode of Supreme TV. I hope all you guys are doing well and safe inside the comforts of your home. This evening, we cannot wait to introduce our panel of speakers in this question and answer webinar titled Vehicle Care and Maintenance, Safety and Cost-Effective Practices to Know. Without further ado, let me introduce our speakers. First off, we have Miss Jenny Wang of All Spark Battery. Hello,
Thank
Miss
you, Miss
Jenny.
CJ. Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm Jenny Wang, owner of All Spark Battery Station. So we are a battery store located in South Metro Manila.
Thank you very much, Jenny. And our other speaker is Mr. Marian Cipriano of Revoltron. Good evening, Marian.
Good evening, Miss CJ. Good evening, Miss Jenny. I'm Marian Cipriano for Voltron. The finance manager of Voltron, and we are an authorized Petron lubricants distributor.
Thank you very much, Jenny and Marian. In addition to these two speakers who are experts in car care and maintenance, I would also like to introduce two more guests that will give additional insights in auxiliary fields to our topic tonight, which are logistics and marine engine care. Introducing Aldrich De Leon from Pac Atlantic Group.
Thank you, Miss CJ. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aldec Lamen from Atlantic Group. So we do freight forwarding, logistics, warehousing, and customs clearance.
Thank you very much, Aldrich. Now, let me introduce to you Willis Lee of Whole Star Marine. Good evening, Willis.
Good evening. Thank you, Christine. Good evening, everyone. My name is Willis of Holstar Marine Group.
Thank you very much, Willis. Now that we know all our panel of speakers and guests, let us get the ball rolling. So if you do have any questions to our speakers and guests later, you can just type away in the comment section and we will read them later. Let me now again welcome Ms. Jenny Wang from All Spark Battery, whose topic is tips for buying a car battery and basic battery care. Ms. Jenny. All right. While Miss Jenny is fixing her PowerPoint slides or slides for her presentation, again, if you do have any questions for our speakers, please feel free to comment on our comment section, and they will try to answer as much as questions later. So is Miss Jenny ready now? All right. Once again, here's Miss Jenny Wong.
Thank you, and sorry for that. So, tips for buying car battery and basic car battery care. So, um, what are the signs of a dead battery? Your car won't start in the morning, but starts fine later in the day. Headlights, radio, and horn won't work. No dome light when opening your door. Nothing happens when you turn the ignition key or when you try to open your car using your remote. So, when buying a car, first is to ensure that your current battery has failed. When your car doesn't start, don't replace your battery at once. Sometimes your vehicle's electrical system could have a problem or the car starter. Hence, you should find the root cause of the problem. Call your local battery dealer or your trusted mechanic to do initial checking of your vehicle. Next is to refer to the battery group size that is recommended by your manufacturer in your vehicle manual. Battery group size indicates the battery size that will best fit the physical dimensions of your vehicle. Many vehicles can accommodate more than one group size. Example, a Toyota Vios is installed an NS40 size battery that's quite small, but a recommended size of 1SN, which is a bit bigger, will be better. But if this vehicle is loaded with additional electrical accessories, like for example, it's installed with the sound setup, or you have a TV Plus installed, or maybe if this vehicle is used heavily, then it can still hold a bigger size battery of 2 SMF, in which the battery's capacity can accommodate the vehicle's requirement. And third, before fitting the new battery, check the electrical system of your vehicle, especially the alternator, which is the usual problem. The alternator is your battery's charging system. So if this fails, your battery will be discharged. And for the battery dealers, they are experts in terms of the battery. But for your vehicle's electrical system, it is best to consult your trusted car mechanic. Next is check for freshness. Batteries in general have battery date codes, which is usually on a sticker on the battery. Some batteries have a series of numbers on top, others have it in a form of 2 to 3 digit month codes. And you may have this interpreted by your local battery dealer or manufacturer. It is a usual practice for battery stores to use the first in, first out system with their inventory. So the chance of getting a new stock battery is quite high. So simply ask your local battery dealer to make sure they give you a fresh stock. Next is look for a hassle-free warranty. How long is the free replacement period? So when you buy a battery, make sure to ask the shopkeeper the period of warranty for the battery you are purchasing. The warranty period for private and commercially used vehicles are different simply because the usage of the vehicle is different as well. So example, a private owned vehicle is used for transport from your house to your office or the grocery or the drugstore. However, a commercially used vehicle runs about 12 to 24 hours a day. So technically, the battery installed in the commercial vehicle is more used compared to the one installed in the private vehicle. Next, what are the requirements for warranty claim? So the basic requirements would be your warranty card and the sales receipt. So when you purchase a battery, make sure you get a copy of your warranty card filled up with your vehicle details and date of sale. A sales receipt is also an additional proof that you have purchased the battery in that store where you are claiming your warranty. This will be very helpful to speed up warranty claims just in case you encounter problem during warranty period. Consider value as well as price. Buying a battery instantly after your vehicle won't start is not advisable. So go to your local battery dealer, call them for professional advice. Again, have your car checked for the root cause of the problem before deciding to purchase the battery. Most battery stores offer free checkup, free installation, and service. So um, before you take a long trip or when you are having your car serviced, make sure your battery gets tested. If you have a tester at home and you are knowledgeable about it, you may test your battery by yourself. Otherwise, bring your car to the nearest battery shop, and they usually have testers ready for use. When you monitor your battery on a regular basis, it will help you make a purchase decision before you get stuck with a dead battery. So it will save you a lot of time and money down the road. And lastly, always insist the right battery model for your application. Check the model of the battery and then buy the product. Why is this so? If you purchase a small battery for an Innova, it can start your vehicle, yes. But how long will that small battery last compared to if you have purchased the correct size for your car? Of course, to get the best value for your money, always buy the correct size battery recommended for your car. So what should we consider when buying a battery? Top 3 things you should note: size, power, and warranty. For the size, you have to check the dimensions of your current battery. Some vehicles have low height between the battery and the hood, so the height of the battery is critical, as the battery cannot touch the hood or any part of the car's body. As I've mentioned, some vehicles may accommodate more than one group size, so check also the battery area in case you might need a bigger size battery. For the power, check the ampere hour capacity required by the vehicle manufacturer to power your car. So every vehicle has a minimum capacity required to power it. It is usually determined by the initial battery's capacity. We, however, can purchase a higher capacity battery as needed by our vehicle's requirement. So we can go higher but not lower. And the warranty, you check the warranty period of the battery and its conditions. So automotive batteries are backed by warranty package. So ask your dealer and choose one that is right for your vehicle needs. Other things to consider: reserve capacity or RC. This is the number of minutes your battery is able to power your vehicle if your alternator or fan belt fails. This is usually the time for you to go to the nearest repair shop to have your alternator fixed. And when buying a battery, the higher the reserve rating is, the longer your vehicle can operate with a faulty alternator. Next is cold cranking amps or CCA. This is a rating used to define the battery's ability to start an engine in cold temperatures. Usually in the early morning is where we test the cranking power of our battery. If we hear or experience hard starting vehicle, means the battery CCA rating is low. So when purchasing, the higher the CCA rating, the greater the starting power of the battery. For the do's and don'ts, do drive your car regularly to keep the battery up to the correct level. So leaving your car stationary for an unextended period of time will affect the battery's charge. Okay? So next is, do keep your battery terminals, box, or case clean, so the battery is not protected from dust and moisture. For older batteries, corrosion may build up through time through the terminals, and this can cause problems while driving. So clean the terminals regularly and the battery box to protect the battery from damage. And next, do service your car regularly. Poorly maintained engines can lead to battery failure, and it may overload the battery, thus reducing the battery life. How about for the don'ts? Do not leave your headlights, hazard light, dome lights, or any other electrical devices on. These are top battery drainers because, well, these are the little things that are hard to spot when you're inside the car or when it's daytime. Leaving these things will drain your battery in no time. So always check the lights before leaving your car. Next is do not smoke anywhere near your car battery, especially when they are heated. So if a battery gets hot from heavy use, it will emit hydrogen. And hydrogen can be a very flammable ingredient, so you don't want to put anything near that could sort of make it combust. So it might be a little extreme for some to say do not smoke near your car, but it's always better to be safe than sorry, right? So lastly, do not connect accessories directly to the battery. Sometimes, if the wires aren't connected properly, they can start to spark. And if they spark and the battery is hot, again, it emits hydrogen, and that's what we're avoiding here. So if you notice any kind of wires that are attached to your battery, aside from the main terminal points, you should really have them checked. Or better, just remove them altogether. But if they really have to be there, make sure that they are fastened really tightly to avoid any spark. Thank you, and that would be all for my presentation.
Thank Thank you very much, Miss Jenny. That was a very insightful presentation about the intricacies of know-hows on buying a car battery and how to take care of one's car battery for every car owner's easy reference. Personally, my key takeaway are the things that we should keep in mind when buying a battery: size, power, and warranty. I'm sure Ms. Jenny will be happy to answer our questions later. But for now, let me introduce our next speaker. His topic will be choosing the right oil for your vehicle. Without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Marian Cipriano from Revoltron. Good evening
So
again, Marian.
good evening again, Miss CJ, and good evening, everyone. So my topic is choosing the right oil for your vehicle. So before we start discussing, let's discuss first the role of lubricants and its ratings. So number one rule of lubricants is it reduces friction. So without lubricants, our engine will definitely fail. We want a thin layer of lubricant to separate moving parts in our engines. So number two, it acts as a coolant. So with friction, there's heat, di ba? So if wala tayong lubricants, automatically mag-overheat yung engine natin. And we all know, overheat can destroy our engines. So lubricants in our engine are constantly circulated to and from a cooler part of the system. Number three, it cleans our engine. Lubricants carries away internally generated debris and external contaminants as well that get introduced into the system to a filter where they can be removed. Number four, it prevents rust and corrosion. This lubricants ensures our system is free from moisture, preventing corrosion buildup. Lastly, it acts as a hydraulic medium. This is mainly used for heavy equipment which requires specific type of lubricants for their hydraulic system, such as backhoes and excavators. So next is the ratings of lubricants. So ano yung nakikita natin doon sa packaging na API, na SAE? So API stands for American Petroleum Institute. So they're the ones who determines the quality of the oil. So in our country, may kita natin ang highest is API-SN and CJ4. API-SN is for gasoline and CJ4 or CI4 is for diesel engines. So next is SAE. So SAE stands for the Society of Automotive Engineers. So they're the ones who determines the viscosity of the oil. So API, they're the ones who determines the quality, while SAE, yung viscosity ng oil. So as an example, SAE 0W30, 0W stands for the winter grade, and 30 is for the normal operating temperature of the car. So how to choose the right oil for your vehicle? So what's the right oil for your vehicle? Basically, this depends on your car manufacturer is recommending you for your regular maintenance. However, most of the time, car manufacturers, yung mga kasa, recommends top of the line quality oil, which is heavy on our pocket. Remember, not all engines requires top of the line quality oil. So, as you can see in the next slide, there are ranges of SAE viscosity which can be used in your car depending on your needs. So yes, please refer to your owner's manual. So ano ba yung mga things to consider kung paano yung aalamin natin kung ano yung SAE viscosity na kailangan mo? If you're using your car for top performance, kailangan maganda yung quality ng oil. So what is commonly used? Okay? So what's commonly used? Number one, it's premium multigrade. This is commonly used by passenger vehicles such as SUVs, sedans, vans, and the likes. This type of oil are also commonly used by trucking companies for their fleet. So, normally ito yung ginagamit ng mga UV Express, mga taxis, even yung mga private vehicles, ito yung ginagamit nila for their regular change oil. And yung mga fleet na nakikita natin, yung mga trucks, yan yung ginagamit nila. Okay? So, what is the recommended change oil interval? For passenger vehicles, every 5,000 kilometers or 6 months, whichever comes first. For trucks, since they do heavy hauling of mga gamit or mga paninda nila, so quarterly. Okay, so one pro of this oil, number one, it's budget friendly. Okay siya for daily driven cars, trucks, or fleet. And one cons is actually premium oil quality degrades faster than synthetic oils. So next is fully synthetic oil. So fully synthetic oil designed to last longer as compared to premium oil. It flows better on lower temperatures and maintains peak viscosity at high temperature. Meaning, even if gamitin mo siya for heavy duty usage or performance, pang mga kotse, this is the go type of oil. So kahit ipang truck mo yung car, yung viscosity and yung quality ng oil, hindi siya ganun masisira. So change oil interval for this type of oil is every 10,000 kilometer or higher, or every 6 months, whichever comes first. One cons of this type of oil is it's really very expensive. 1 liter costs around 600 pesos or higher. So for the next is a synthetic oil. This is right for owners who wants extra protection for their cars engine from the standard premium oil. So it is less volatile than the premium oil, which means it can withstand more pressure and more stress, giving the engine a better protection. So ito yung actually yung middle from premium, synthetic, and then fully synthetic. So the recommended change oil interval for this oil is every 7,500 kilometers or higher, or every 6 months, whichever comes first. So pag mapapansin natin, why 6 months? Even if premium multigrade, synthetic, or fully synthetic, why every 6 months? So now, it's a good practice to always put fresh oil in our engines. And besides, doing a regular change oil is better than doing a regular engine repairs, di ba? Why engine repairs? Oil lang naman yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Why engine repairs? Okay, so oil degrades over time. Whether it's premium, synthetic, or fully synthetic, it still degrades over time. So degraded oil can cause engine sludge that can block oil flow entirely. So anong mangyayari if nagkaroon ka ng engine sludge? Ano yung gagawin sa car mo? Normally, ang ginagawa is overhaul. So mas costly mag-overhaul ng engine than doing regular change oil every 6 months. So what are good daily or weekly practices for us to ensure our vehicles is in A-OK condition? Number one, check your oil level weekly. So tignan mo yan. Yung dipstick ng oil, it has an indicator, high or low. Normally, ang difference between high and low is 1 liter. So top up if needed. If it's in between the indicators, okay lang yung oil mo. Walang problem. Number two, check your fluids. Brake fluid, transmission fluid, radiator fluid or coolant, or power steering fluid. So normally, check nyo lagi yan. Since brake fluid, kailangan mo siya for stopping power. Transmission fluid naman, you need it to ensure your vehicle will shift properly. radiator para hindi ka magkaroon ng overheat, and power steering fluid para hindi ka maging pawis steering fluid. 'Di ba? If wala kang power steering fluid, napakahirap ikutin yung manibela ng kotse mo. Okay? So number 3, check your engine air filter. This one ensures good performance since the engine can breathe. Number 4, check your tire pressure. Normally, pag chinek mo yung tire pressure, hindi siya overinflate, hindi siya underinflate to ensure even wear and tear ng tires. Number 5, ito yung pinaka-mostly na hindi tinitignan, yung brake pads, di ba? Pero this one is the most important part of your vehicle. Ang dali magpabilis ng kotse, pero pag wala kang brake pads, paano ka hihinto? Di ba? So number 6, this one is actually not a daily, not a weekly practice, but don't skip your maintenance schedule. Timing belts, 'di ba? Important 'yan. Once naputulan ka ng timing belt, sira yung timing ng car mo. May mababali sa loob ng makina mo. So number second is do regular change oils, spark plugs, check nyo lagi 'yan para hindi palyado yung tunog ng makina. Tire rotation to ensure even wear and tear ng tires, filters, important palitan, and syempre yung brake pads. Okay? So, thank you. This is my presentation. And laging tandaan, basta makina, i-revoltron mo yan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marion. With that presentation, I now feel secure in my capability as a car owner to choose the correct oil for my vehicle. You know what, guys? I've been a car owner for 5 years already, but it is only now that I really understand these things about my car's oil. So very informative. Thank you again, Marion. And for
Thank you.
us to deep dive further on inquiries and questions on their respective topics, we have some questions that we'd like to ask both of our speakers. So we would like to call on again Ms. Jenny. Ayan, to join us. So the first question is actually for Ms. Jenny. This is very timely. During this MECQ period, a majority of car owners are quarantined in their respective homes. So what would be the best car maintenance tips considering cars are not used for a prolonged period of time?
Okay, so my suggestion would be run your car from time to time. So you can either drive around your village or even to the nearby streets. Just don't go anywhere. Don't go to the grocery, but just drive around your car. Every weekend is good. Or if you cannot do this, you can do the warming up of your vehicle. Start your car in the morning. Let it stay idle for about 10 to 15 minutes, then turn it off. You can do this every other day or every 3 days just to maintain the battery's charge level.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny. And we have a question now for Mr. Marion. Yeah, why is it better to use multi-grade engine oil than monograde?
Okay. So, the difference between monograde and multigrade is mapapansin natin yan sa viscosity niya sa SAE. So, monograde, isa lang yung nakalagay niya, meaning that's the viscosity of the oil when the engine runs at optimal temperature. So, ito yung mga tinatawag nating oil 40. So, in petrol, we have HD40, we have HD10, we have HD30, we have HD50 I think we have then. So normally ang difference niya is the winter grade. So if you'll check multi-grades na oil, you have 5W30, we have 15W40. So ang advantage of using multi-grade oils is for that winter grade na ginagawa niya for cold starts. So in our country, mapapansin natin, tropical siya, yes, mainit. Pero yung engine mo in the morning, 'di ba? Mainit na ba agad yung engine mo in the morning? So one advantage of using multigrade is that yung winter grade niya, mas madaling umakyat yung oil during cold start. So mas napoprotektahan agad natin yung engine natin. Yeah. So that's one, and that's the advantage of using multigrade actually.
Thank you very much, Marion. So take it from the expert to use multi-grade engine oil. And another question for Miss Jenny. How does one know for sure that how does one know for sure if his or her battery needs to be replaced? This is very important.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, many other problems can keep a vehicle from starting. So you need to do some troubleshooting. So the basic ones are to check your headlights. You have to turn it on, or you just honk your horn. If the headlights or the horn didn't work, or if the headlights light up but it's on the low beam side, then your battery might be a bit discharged. Or if your horn medyo mahina, that's the same. So your battery might be on a little bit discharged. If totally no light at all, or wala ka rin talagang busina, or you cannot open your car using your remote, that means your battery has totally no charge at all. So, but again, there are underlying cause for a discharged battery. So it may be a light left on or alternator fail. So still need to have your vehicle checked as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Miss Jenny. So the tips that she gave are very easy to do. So let us always do that for our cars to be maintained well. Thanks, Miss Jenny. And we have here another question for Mr. Marion. How do we watch out for fake lubricants being sold in the market?
Kaya oo. Actually, as a distributor, kalaban namin yan. Yung mga fake lubricants, di ba? Because we supply quality and legit na products, but then sila, they used fake. Ang binibenta nila fake. So number one, you'll check is the price. Is the price, tama ba yung price niya? So if, number two, actually, check mo din kung saan ka bumibili ng product. Saan ka bumibili nung oil. If fishy yung seller, siyempre, magtataka ka na. Diba? Number three, yung packaging. Diba? Kasi as a car enthusiast, normally may go-to oil ka na agad for your car. Siyempre, mas magugustuhin mo yung mas mura kaysa yung mahal. So normally, pag mas mura yan, check the packaging. Meron ka namang previous packaging siguro na ginagamit mong oil, or if wala, ask for those na gumagamit. Then syempre, yung color and yung smell ng product. Normally, pag bago yung engine oil, gold yung color and clear. Golden clear yung color niya. Pero yung mga fake or counterfeit products, mapapansin mo, nasa side siya ng brown or minsan black. Since counterfeit products, yung mga fakes, ang ginagamit yan is used oil. Parang nire-refine ulit nila yung used oil to be usable again. Okay? So number one, check your supplier. Number two, yung price. Number three, yung packaging ng product. And number four, check kung yung color niya is golden clear. Normally, yung bagong oil, laging golden clear yung color. Except for one product, which is yung isang product which is royal purple. Kasi purple talaga yung oil na maski bago. So, pag luma na yung oil, pag counterfeit yung products normally, brown yan, brown or black yung color. So, that's one indicator. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Marion. But don't worry, guys. Just go to Revoltron, contact Marion, and you will not be given a fake lubricant. All right, we are down to our last two questions before we read in our comments later. This one is for Miss Jenny again. Yeah, Jenny, what can excessive heat do to a battery?
Okay. Hot temperatures will deteriorate a battery's life quicker by evaporating the water from the electrolyte. So, a battery kasi, it contains electrolyte solution. So, kumbaga, the evaporation, it will evaporate the water from the electrolyte and the corroding and weakening of the positive grids. So sometimes there are types of cars that we recommend to put insulator. So yung insulator, it's like the insulator in your baunan. It's that material we wrap around the battery to keep it from being too hot, especially when the battery setup is near the car's engine, or like if the battery's location is under the seat instead of the hood of the car, that one is walang ventilation, yung mga under the seat. So it's hotter. So yun, we do recommend sometimes to put an insulator and yun nga, keep it from being hot.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Jenny. I read one of the comments in our Facebook Live. Sabi, Amaran battery, highly recommended. Amaran na. Ayan. And our last question for Marion before we read our comments. Other than changing engine oil, what are the other things we need to check to ensure our vehicle will run safely and reliably?
Okay. So basically, actually nabanggit ko na to kanina, no? The normal things you should check for your car every day or every week. Number one is yan, check your fluids. Check your car's fluids kung tama ba yung radiator coolant, tama ba yung brake fluid, transmission fluid, and power steering fluid as well. Check your engine air filter, tire pressure, and the most important, check your brake pads. Okay, brake pads and brake fluid are the most important part of the car. Pag ang bilis mo tumakbo, you're going 60 kilometers per hour, mabagal yun for us. Pero pagka wala kang preno, mabilis na yun. Di ba? So kahit anong apak mo kung wala kang preno, mabilis yun. Pwede ka ma-aksidente. Kasi number one priority natin is our safety when we're using our cars. Next is don't skip your maintenance schedules. Diba? As mentioned kanina, yung timing belts, that's very important. Once na nasira yan, napakalaking gastos pag naputulan ka. So remember, always check your car owner's manual para makita mo kung kailan ba due yung timing belts mo. Normally, that's every 80,000 or minsan 60,000 for certain vehicles. Number two, yung change oil natin, don't forget that. Pag nagka-engine sludge ka dyan, even if you're not using your car, magkakaroon pa rin ng moisture engine mo. So you need to have your car oil change pa din. Spark plugs para hindi maging palyado yung takbo, tire rotation, and filters, and again, yung brake pads replacement. So para sure tayo na safe ka when you're on the road.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marion. So not only that we need to keep ourselves safe away from COVID, we also have to ensure that our vehicles will also run safely and reliably by following the tips given by Marion. And we have a question from our Facebook viewer, Jess Chua. Yeah, his question is, at what age of the vehicle is the synthetic oil recommended for use? So this is for Mr. Marion again.
Okay. So for that, actually, I personally recommend my customers, my clients to use a thicker oil when the car is actually aging. So pag matanda na yung car, I usually recommend them to use a premium multigrade because it normally it has a 15W40 viscosity, which is good if your car is old na. Pero you should do a regular change oil for this para maprotektahan lagi yung engine. Kasi normally, when the car ages, lumuluwag yung engine parts niya. Diba? Mechanical kasi yung makina eh. So, if you have gears there, may mga rubber sealing, may mga gears, lumuluwag yan eventually. So, you need to put a thicker oil para hindi kumatok yung engine. Pero kailangan pa din regular change oil using that oil. So,
Thank you, Mr. Marion. I hope that answers the question. That's
yeah,
clear
I hope to.
for Jess. Yeah. We also have another question still for you from Attorney Nilo Rico. Do I need to change my oil even if I rarely use my car due to community quarantines? Everyone can relate to this.
Yeah. So, puro ako ah. So, yeah, actually, na-mention to kanina. So, yes, you still need to have your car oils change even if you're not using your car, di ba? Kasi may moisture build up even if you're not using the car. One of the rules of lubricants is to prevent moisture. So, if hindi mo ginagamit yung car mo during quarantine, nakastock lang sa garahe, hindi umiikot yung lubricant, meaning, di ba? So, nagkakaroon ng build-up yung moisture, and moisture prevents the lubricants to circulate your engine properly. So, before doing, and sinisira din ng moisture kasi yung quality ng oil. Kaya ako sinasabi kanina, every 6 months, even if you're not using the car, kasi yung moisture, it destroys the quality of the oil. And if nasira na yung quality ng oil, it will be harder for the oil to circulate in the system. So, for protection-wise, kailangan mo talagang palitan yung oil if hindi mo siya ginamit ng matagal. Yeah. So, that's actually one tip then if you're gonna buy second-hand cars. So, kailangan mong, normally, pag bumalik ka ng second-hand na kotse, palitan mo na lahat ng pwede mong palitan. Lahat ng fluids, including the engine oil. Kasi hindi mo alam kung gaano katagal na nakastock yung kotse dun sa binihan mong second-hand dealer. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Marion. So that's all the questions that we have from the Facebook comments. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm really learning a lot from this Q&A webinar, and I'm sure it's the same with our viewers. But we are not yet done. We will be calling now our guests, as we will be asking two questions to our logistics expert, Mr. Aldrich De Leon of Pac Atlantic Group, in relation to our topic of fleet management. So now that we are on MECQ, cargo tracking services should remain unhampered. What does this really mean?
Thank you, CJ. So actually, in light of this development, MMDA has recently opted to extend the suspension of the truck ban along major thoroughfares in Metro Manila. For your reference, during normal times, truck ban times are 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. each and every single day.
I see, that's great. And as movement of essential goods such as medical supplies and food should really remain uninterrupted during ECQ or even MECQ. My next question for Sir Aldrich, how about the trucks going to Manila Port? Do truckers just go to Manila Port to pick up containers, or does a reservation and booking system exist?
Thank you, CJ. That's actually a very important question. Actually, yes. International Manila Port. So we have two. That's MICT, that is operated by ICTSI, and Manila South Harbor, which is operated by ATI. So both of these ports, they operate what we call the TAB system. This is a terminal appointment booking system.
That's great to know, but can you kindly elaborate more on tabs for our viewers?
Yes, actually, TABS is a web-based booking appointment system for container trucks coming in and out of the port. You may remember our bad port congestion that Manila ports experienced back in 2014. That congestion caused a lot of economic losses for importers and exporters alike. So actually, TABS was launched back in 2015. So it's really addressed to directly address the pileup of container trucks outside Manila ports. TABS, they also help truckers save on time and gas as they're able to project their resources due to the scheduling and booking system of TABS. Another major benefit of tabs is less traffic, of course, we all like that, and reduced queues at the port since there will be enough yard resources to serve all trucks within their tab appointment window. So in layman terms, walang patong-patong the appointment. So each truck gets a slot at the tabs at the port. So also, you can make your tabs booking online. It's very, very modernized, and truckers can easily access tabs through a website, and then they can book an appointment in that website.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aldrich. It is so enlightening to hear that we have some mechanism in place to ensure an efficient system for trackers in Manila Port, which handles around 80% of our country's importations. Now we have a question for our other guest, Mr. Willis. All right. Mr. Willis, good evening again. So, what
Good
advice
evening.
can you give to clients who are having financial difficulties during this pandemic?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So now everybody knows because of the pandemic, and a lot of ferries lines between islands was suspended, and even that's why they are facing a big headache on the income. So now what I suggest they can do is to do more bulk purchase on the consumer parts. As you know, most of the ship's parts or stores are import from other countries. And unfortunately, because the old traditional ways, they are when they are lack of something, they then they raise the requisition and buy. But that's why it will cause a lot of extra logistic costs and 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 facing sometimes running out of the parts, and then finally they are suffering engine damage or something like that. They spend more money since now the ship is not most of them are suspended, so they can have a proper checkup and do the purchasing or procurement planning in advance. So something like the filters, the oil filters, the air filters, they can buy in a bulk and distribute to the ships. Actually, it's the same as the truck owner or the haulage owner. They have to change their procurement uh, strategy. This is my suggestion. Okay.
Thank you, Willis. I believe that all business owners and entrepreneurs have financial challenges in general during this pandemic, and your financial advice proves invaluable and will greatly help small, medium, and large corporations. We have nearly reached the end of this episode of Supreme TV, but before we end, we would like to call back our speakers, Jenny and Marion, for any parting tips to the audience about their respective topics. Miss Jenny?
Okay, for my parting tips, again, always check your lights, dome light, hazard light, or even your radio if your engine is not turned on. So let's refrain from doing this. And next is have your car checked every year, even if your battery is not yet dead, because it can help you. It can help you monitor your car battery. And lastly, you can always be secured when you seek professional advice from your trusted battery dealer. So don't hesitate to call them or bring your battery for checkup. Thank you.
Thank you. And what about Mr. Marion? Go ahead and give your tips.
Okay, so siguro another tip is when to know when your car is due na for change oil. So normally, if the oil is really dark and dirty, so how to know if it's dark and dirty? Just by pulling the dipstick from your engine, makikita mo na agad when you touch the oil, and if you rub your hands ganito sa oil, pag dirty na siya, mayroon na mga debris, you should change your oil na. Okay, next is if you have excessive mileage. Meaning excessive mileage, kailan ba yung last change oil ko? 'Di ba? Pag hindi mo na maisip 'yon, automatic magpa-change oil ka na. 'Di ba? Kasi baka mamaya magkaroon na ng engine sludge yung car mo. So meaning, pag nag-engine sludge ka, baka ma-overhaul pa yung car, which is more costly to do. Yeah, so actually that's all. Thank you.
Awesome tips, guys. This evening has indeed been a productive night for all of us. Definitely, I've been enlightened on the intricacies of the proper vehicular safety and maintenance measures. We are grateful for our speakers, Ms. Jenny and Mr. Marion, to sharing their expertise in their respective fields, along with our distinguished guests, Mr. Aldrich and Mr. Willis. This is Christine Chua, your host for tonight's Supreme TV episode, signing off. Have a blessed evening, everyone, and stay safe. Catch us again next week, Wednesday, and same time at 8:30 p.m. to learn a lot from this Supreme TV. Again, this is Supreme TV, where we like to keep things real so your business can be supreme. Stay safe, everyone.